White people, stop pretending to be good people if you can't call out white supremacy. I got news for you. You're not good if you can't call out white supremacy. Don't pretend to have morals if you can't call out white supremacy. If you can't acknowledge white privilege and white supremacy culture and system operating as a plague in our fucking nation and our fucking world, don't pretend to be moral. Don't pretend to be a good white person, because you're not. And I'm going to share with you guys something that I've never told before, a story. Many years ago, a white coworker told me, confessed to me, I guess because I'm white, told me I don't like black people. And I said, why you don't like black people? Tragically, he had lost his daughter, and he blamed a black man for it. His daughter died of a drug overdose, and they found out that a black guy had sold his daughter the drugs, and she died from an overdose. And he said, because of that reason, Dixon, I do not like black people. And I said, so let me ask you something. If a white guy had have sold you, your daughter, those drugs, would you not like all white people? And he said, well, that's not white culture. And I said, what do you mean? And he said, white people are not involved in drugs. Black people are. And I said, no, you're involved in white supremacy, because black people are not involved in drugs any more than white people. That's a fact. You have bought into a lie that white supremacy taught you, that black people are drug dealers, just like Trump said, right? Mexicans are mostly, a lot of them are rapists and drug dealers. You bought into that lie. You bought into white supremacy culture. That's why if it happened to the same, if a white person sold your daughter those drugs, you wouldn't not like all white people. That would be silly, right? It's the exact same thing with black people. It's stupid and silly and racist of you to think because one black person does one thing, they're all in that same category. That's how white supremacy works. He's like, well, fuck, man, we'll disagree. All right, we'll agree to disagree. That was the end of the conversation. He probably didn't learn a goddamn thing. He didn't want to learn. But that's the truth. It is white supremacy. Why people are racist. That's the only reason. Our indoctrination as to why we do not give a fuck about fixing the problem, about trying to dismantle white supremacy. Something happened today. I'm at a gas station and somebody yelled at me from across the way, from a pretty good distance, maybe 90 feet. I said, hey, ain't you that guy that makes them Instagrams? And I said, no. I thought about it and I said, I can't tell a lie. So I drove over there. I said, yeah, I am, man. He goes, yeah, you're the one that does the anti-racism. I said, yeah, I am. And he said, I appreciate you, brother. And of course he was black, because I've yet to ever be recognized by a white person, because I've never, ever had any white people recognize me, because I don't have many white followers, sadly, because white people avoid this conversation all the time. It's what we do as a society. It's what we do as a people. We avoid anti-racism. We don't want to be anti-racist. Not being racist is enough. No, it's not. When you benefit from racism, not being racist is not enough. So this gentleman touched me today because he recognized me and he said, thank you. And he encouraged me to keep going. He doesn't owe me a thank you. And I told him that, because what I'm doing should be the norm. Every white person in America should be calling out the plague called white supremacy in our society. Not just me, not just a handful of white people. It should be every fucking person. But guess what? We're colonizers. We don't have morality. As long as you can't call out and fight to dismantle white supremacy as a white person, you'll never have morality. And you'll never be respected by other people other than white, let alone trusted. White supremacy is a plague for all of us. Not just black, brown, indigenous people, for all of us. It's self-destructive. It's toxic to white people. And it takes all of our credibility and dignity away as a white people. And until we fix that, our most neglected sin, until we fix that as white people, we will never know peace.
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you're doing great from wherever you watch me from. Most of the time when we talk about accountability, white people, okay, not all of white people, but at least white people, majority of them, they don't like to be held accountable, right? And we just need to talk about the truth. Look at factors and so many times things has happened that has been being blamed on black people. But we have at least white people that have learned more of history, that have learned the truth, and now they're coming out trying to call other white people out for the things that they ever done. Brothers and sisters, in this video, you're going to see brothers and sisters opening up and calling out white folks for the things that they have done, or at least try to accept the problems that they have caused in the United States. And this video is so much revealing and they're so much helpful to us because they give us a perspective that I feel like we need to discuss, right? There are a couple of topics like white privilege and other things, important things that black people have always been talking about. But since it was a black person, these things were not taken seriously. But now we are seeing white people, at least white people who have known, who have understood the reality and understood the truth. And now they're coming out trying to talk about all these issues, trying to warn you all white people, right? Because what they said, the truths that these people are going to say in this video, they are so much eye-opening. And I feel like we need to get to have a look on what they had to say and then come back. Let's talk about them and have a discussion in regards to them. And I'm just saying that if you're watching me for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to my channel, join my membership, and really get to see what I can offer you, because we need to talk about these important topics. But at the end of the day, this is the point of discussion. There's so much harm that has been put in the name of black people, but at least we have white people that are seeing to it that these are the things that we need to talk about. Very, very important, especially in the United States today. So let's get to have a talk about them. I'll be back and then I'll be sharing my thoughts.
You know, there's one great distinction between black folks and white folks. Black people have the moral high ground. They do. Black people have when you do a comparison morally between white people and black people, you have to take away one thing: supremacy. Black people do not have a culture of black supremacy. However, white people do. So white people are narcissists, social, cultural, systemic narcissists is who we are because of our racism, because of the lies of white supremacy. How can white people have morality as long as we have bought into the lies of white supremacy? We can't. And how does that feel to know that black people have a moral high ground? How does that feel to know as a white person that you are sick, twisted, narcissistic, and immoral, highly immoral, and inhumane? I don't use the N-word. What are you doing to fight and dismantle racism that benefits you, white person? Nothing. I ignore it, I deny it, or you perpetrate it. Those are the three things we do. We ignore it, we deny it, or we perpetrate it. That's what most white people do. I hate to say it, but it's true. And that's why I say we're social narcissists and we have no moral high ground racially. We are sick, hurting people. Hurt people, hurt people. And we've been hurting a long damn time. We're hurting because of the disease of white supremacy. It's destroying white people from within. Look at the white nationalist party, the GOP. Not just them, all white people. But just as an example, look at the GOP. They're batshit fucking crazy. They bought into so many lies, and it all started with the great lie. The great lie of white supremacy. It all started with that. Everybody knows the GOP now officially is the white nationalist party. That's a fact. Matter of fact, you can look at a lot of the rhetoric that they spew, and it's almost identical to what the KKK is spewing and has been spewing for many, many, many years. It's the exact same rhetoric. It really is. Once again, I'm asking white people to understand, you don't do this just for black people as an anti-racist. You don't do it. I do it because I care about humanity, and I can't stand. I was bullied for many years. I can't stand to see people bullied. That's one reason I do this. It's true. But I'm not here to fucking save anybody except for white folks. Black people can take care of themselves. Yes, white supremacy creates victims. But don't think the only victims are black and brown and indigenous people. We are also victims as the people who are living this grand lie and this grand immorality of social, cultural, and systemic narcissism. White people, you're hurting. Until you heal from racism, You're doomed to live an immoral and toxic life. I've seen it in my own fucking family. Don't tell me it's not true. I've seen it in my own goddamn eyes. Living under the lies of white supremacy makes you sick. Nobody's good enough. You're not good enough. You're living lies. And it's people like Donald Trump, the grandest narcissist of them all. That's why white people love Trump. And don't think it's only the GOP. It's also in liberals. Many white liberals are just as racist as the GOPs, just in a different way. If you're not doing anything to dismantle white supremacy as a white person, again, you are the problem. And you're only hurting yourself by ignoring it. Believe that. I was raised to be racist. I use the N-word. My whole family used the N-word. We all use the N-word, 70s, 80s. As a teenager, I was a very racist young man. And I put that racist part of me behind me, in that now I can acknowledge that we live in a white supremacist culture and system, that I have white privilege as a white person. We all do. That this nation is a white supremacist nation. That MAGA is a white supremacist movement that Trump is leading. But it's still hard to believe just how sick we are. But then I look at things like what Israel's doing to Gaza. I look at what Hitler did to the Jews and what Leopold did to the Africans and so on and so on. It's racism. It's hate. And I'm ashamed of white people. I'm ashamed of all the white people that I thought that I knew that support this white supremacist MAGA movement. I'm so ashamed. And it is hard to believe just how racist the people that I thought I knew, and the denial, the apathy. But then you really think about it, black people have never really mattered to white people. They just don't. That's what we've been taught. We've been taught that black people are less than us. Subconsciously, consciously, overtly, directly, indirectly, passively, aggressively, whatever. We've all been taught that. We've all been taught that they are beneath us. And that's why everybody got so triggered when we had a black president. They're supposed to know their place. They're not supposed to have value. They're not supposed to have any kind of power, because we are such a racist people. Why? Because we're colonizers, because we were enslavers, and that's our culture. And you cling to that racism, white folks. You cling to it. You hold to it until you can respect your brothers and sisters that are not white. You're nothing but a fucking hypocrite. You don't love your country. You love white supremacy. And all you motherfuckers that don't care, all you apathetic white motherfuckers that just don't give a fuck about what's happening to immigrants, about what's happening to Haitians right now, about what's happening to all immigrants and brown and black people in general because of Trump's white supremacist movement. All you motherfuckers that just remain silent, that don't give a fuck, that'll secretly vote for Trump, that'll secretly vote for white supremacy. You're disgusting. You're the one that has no value because you lack character and integrity. You don't care about your brothers and sisters. Don't ever call yourself a Christian, and don't ever call yourself a patriot. Reality is, we're a highly racist country, and white people are a highly racist community around the whole goddamn world. And that's the truth. And that's why Trump got elected in 2016. He ran on a campaign of racism, and our country was so fucking racist that we elected him. And now he's going to implement a plan, if he's elected, to become a dictator, to destroy democracy, and to do horrible things that could ruin our country. We have a morally bankrupt, criminal, grifter, con man like the world has never seen, that may be our next president for the second time. All because the white man wants to maintain white supremacy. He would rather fuck himself in the ass than have any semblance of equality. That's a sick mind, and that's a sick nation. And that's the one thing about black folks. They have always known this nation was sick. While white people are pretending to be patriotic, you're not patriotic. You're just in love with white supremacy. Why is it that white folks support anti-blackness, racism, and white supremacist culture in so many goddamn fucking ways? Why is it that we support it through our silence, our defensiveness, our denial, that code of silence? Let's not talk about it. Let's ignore it. All that fucking gymnastics, that defensiveness, the fucking anger, the passive aggressiveness, the stereotyping, the overt, covert racist, all the shit that we do, the gaslighting, All that fucking shit that we do as white people. Why can't we just leave black people the fuck alone? Why? Because we were taught that shit. It's our culture. White supremacist culture is American culture. It's European culture. We see ourselves as overseers. We ourselves as entitled to control and judge black people. White Americans wanted, back in the day, we demanded black people be segregated, right? So we segregated. Black people said, okay, great. We're going to make our own shit. They started doing great. What did we do? We fucking burned their communities down to the ground. And you're going to sit in your fucking silence? You ought to be ashamed of yourself for not giving a fuck. Every single one of you that can't talk about it, that spews fucking racist narratives, stereotypes, denial, gaslight. That's not their reality. Telling black people what the fuck they should think, feel, do, be. Fuck you. Do better. Reject your fucking training, your indoctrination. Question your own goddamn morality racially for once in your fucking life. I'm tired. I'm tired of what my people have done, what they continue to do. I'm fucking sick of it. I'm tired of seeing people suffer. I'm tired of the fucking inequality. And you ought to give a fuck too.
This man's face is a forensic crime scene, not just an expression, a multi-century colonial residue baked into every furrowed brow wrinkle. Like sediment from the caves his ancestors refused to leave. This isn't stubble. This is a follicular fossil record of settler delusion, coarse with the dried blood of extinct ecosystems. Let's begin with his skull shape, shall we? Observe the slight receding forehead slope, the Neanderthalic arc of a man whose genes still whisper in stone tools and missionary pamphlets. The cranial vault lacks lift, a telltale sign in classic phrenology of limited abstract capacity, but a surplus of territorial aggression. In layman's terms, a domed plantation simulator. His supraorbital ridges are swollen with suspicion, the eyes sunken back like he's afraid the present might touch him. The nasal bridge is narrow, stiff, not for function, but as if designed purely to sniff out critical race theory in schools. And that mouth, tight, grim, drawn like a curtain over centuries of repressed war crimes. You don't need a lie detector. His mandibular tension is its own testimony. The jaw clenches not from thought, but from ancestral memory of losing control over other people's land. His beard is not a beard. It is a filter, through which every word must pass before being deemed acceptable by the ghost of Cecil Rhodes. It is a camouflage, evolved not to survive predators, but to blend in with the dying dreams of Boer superiority. The look he's giving? That's not confusion. That's phylogenetic confusion. The moment when 300,000 years of evolutionary trajectory stops and says, wait, we descended into this? His trapezius tension suggests a man who walks through the world braced for reverse colonization, yet his posture reveals the opposite, a species biomechanically unfit for humility. And let's not ignore the skin. Pale, taut like parchment, as if his epidermis never recovered from centuries of avoiding sunlight and accountability. There's melanin deficiency, and then there's I still feel the whip in my DNA. He's the latter. Skin so historically brittle that it flakes off at the mention of Haiti. In conclusion, this face is not a face. It's a colonial interface, a deprecated operating system of supremacy, glitching under the pressure of a world that has begun to say, your time is up. He is the living embodiment of an empire's dying breath, wrapped in beard oil and fear. Gope.
To my white brothers and sisters, I'm not politically correct. I tell it like it is. When I hear someone say go back to your country, it's always from a white person directed at a black or brown person. But that makes no sense because our ancestors weren't from here, and we stole this land, and we're still colonizing it. And when I hear black and indigenous and people of color talk about reparations, I hear a white person in the background yelling reverse racism. But that makes no sense because white people have never been and are not being oppressed based on their race. So white people, I have a question. Why are you so afraid of losing your position in society? Why are you so afraid of losing the comfort that white supremacy has given you? Why are you so afraid of actual equality? Learn up.
Can we stop, for once, at least, maybe in our nation's history, stop trying to blame white-on-white crime on black people? Can we stop it for once, at least, please? Like, we all knew when Charlie Kirk was killed. We knew. We knew who this was going to be. We knew who the suspect was going to be, a young white man. We knew it. And yet, some people tried to spin this to say it was something else. And now threats are being lobbied against black students at universities. Black HBCUs are being threatened to be blown up. I think 4 of them had to shut down yesterday and today because they had to deal with bomb threats. It was never them. It's never been the black community. We always blame anybody else but ourselves. But the call is coming from inside the house. We are the problem. White on white crime, we are the problem. We have always been the problem. So let's, for once, stop trying to blame somebody else and look inward and try to address the actual problems that we are the ones creating upon ourselves. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a great day in history.
Hello, it's me, Hat Bear again. Coming at you with I know I said in my last video that I would do a follow-up to the first, and I really wanted to make this one more specific and talk about something that's really important. Black Lives Matter. It's a simple statement. It's got a simple meaning. I know a lot of people who look like me get confused by this, and excuse me in this particular one because it gets me really kind of angry when I talk about this. So yeah, Black Lives Matter, period. What? Oh my gosh, all lives matter. Yeah, we know. Okay, we know. All lives matter. Thanks. Everybody knows that. But all lives aren't the ones in the most trouble. All lives aren't the ones experiencing the most repression and other problems like systemic racism and social inequality and all the other things that go along with it, redlining to generational wealth gaps to income gaps, all the other things that keep black people poor. Here's the big catch. You all got statistics. I've seen the cherry picking. I've seen you reaching up there and grasping in the air, trying to come up with excuses and reasons. And no. As simple as this. The biggest indicator for crime and other problems is income level. Don't compare all whites to all blacks and blah, blah, blah. The numbers are in your favor, by the way. Let's just throw that out there. But it's still heavily skewed. Compare the poorest whites to the poorest blacks, and then you get a real comparison where crime to crime is pretty dead on. So where's the racism in this? The fact that white people have kept black people poor since this country's founding. I mean, it was built on slavery. You can argue it, but you would just be wrong. I don't know why you would want to argue to be wrong, but you would be wrong. We kept black people poor. Every time they built something up, Tulsa, so on, every time they did that, we nixed it. We ended generations of wealth. Right now in this country, they can finally just start to build that. But for generations, we've taken it away from them. They don't have a starting line. They're building their starting line where most people, yes, I know, oh God, you had some problems. Where's my whatever? Yeah, okay, we get it. You may not be the problem, but you're not the average, right? We're talking about systemic average. Look it up.
Breaking news. White people ain't shit. Just kind of feel like saying that. I mean, what do you really say after that? There's nothing to follow up. White people ain't shit. But it's true though, if you think about it. Like, what group of people is more racist than us, more hateful than us? What group of people do you know that started over 100 plus race massacres and stripped everything from other groups of people of color, black people, however you want to categorize, and never pay it back, ever? I mean, take everything they own, properties, businesses, family, use their like, lynch them and do unspeakable acts to them, use their skin for shoes and wallets and belts and hats, use their teeth to, replace ours, use their hair to stuff chairs and shit, or take pictures of these lynchings and put them on postcards and send them across states or the U.S. to your family and friends as a way to joke and shit. Like, I just, made me sick, dude. I hate us. I do. I really hate us. I mean, just strip everything and not pay it back, and be so hateful and so spiteful to the point that we put literature in contracts, especially with these insurance companies, that will prevent us from having to pay these people back as long as we call them riots, not massacres. Like, there's nobody more hateful than us. Take. A little bit of violence, a lot of bit of violence sprinkled in. Take some more. Whether that's people's fucking property or people's inventions. White people love taking credit for shit they never invented, but a brother or sister did. And we pay nothing back. Or you one of the cool ones, so to speak. And you take from the culture and you don't contribute nothing back. You're no different. You're no fucking different. Or the ones that get mad when people call white people out as a whole, like you get triggered or something. And you feel like you got to defend the white race. Put your white night suit on and shit. Like, maybe you should take inventory on what it is that makes you feel like you got to take up for white folk when people speak on us as a whole. What have you done? What have you said? Why do you feel guilty? Why do you feel like you're targeted in this? Why is it someone like me can sit here and join in on conversations against white people and not feel offended one fucking bit, but people like you do feel offended? I don't know. Maybe because you did some shit and I ain't. I'm just saying. We just ain't shit. I don't know how else to say it. And then the way we excuse racism. That was just one bad day. That was a long time ago. Bitch, so? What the fuck does that have to do with anything? Never atoned for it. Been ducking and dodging accountability since that incident. Pretty sure that wasn't the first time you said it. Ain't some shit you just pop off at the top of the mouth randomly. No, that's who you are. It's ingrained in your DNA. The shit you partake in behind closed doors. Motherfucker, I'm from the Bible Belt and a conservative household down here in the South. I know what dog whistles are. I know the conversations that take place behind closed doors, fam. Had a racist ass stepdaddy. Confederate shit, no. I know, bro. I see that shit. I cannot stand my people. I hate how fake we can be, too. We love to say we ain't racist because our friend's black. One of the good ones that we like to call them. One of the ones that fall in line with how we think and how we feel and vote how we vote. But I'll be damned if you decide to change your way of thinking. See exactly where that gets you. You won't really see how we feel about you then. I hate our people. I really do. There's nobody like us. And nobody plays the victim card quite like white people. And you think that you can just wake up one day and decide to change your beliefs and be like, I don't fuck with these racist crackers no more. I'm with y'all now. Hell no. Just like I told Trump people not too long ago, stay where the fuck you at. Stay over there. Keep your white hood energy over there. Just because you done dyed your shit red doesn't make you any less of a white hood than it was before, bro. I just don't like my people.
Hello, brothers and sisters. Welcome back to the channel. There's a concept that I want to talk about, and I think the brothers have really touched on it like deeply. But what I want to say about all this is that when you see a problem happening to a black person, and this is something that has been happening, and I think a lot of scholars have tried to call this out, and I'm glad that we have some white people that are learning and asking this for what is happening. And it's not even about being a black person or being a white person, but seeing it happening in real time. When we have black people that causes a problem, usually you'll see the media or the news trying to show how black people are not good people. But you understand that half truth and half lies that these people share towards each other group of people really makes it so much hard for people to believe what really is the truth. Because if the media pushes a narrative that black people does this and white people doesn't, the world or the people will believe that indeed black people are not good people, right? And white people are good people. Well, what we see happening on the ground, like the reality, what is happening on the reality is that it is the opposite that is happening. And so many black people have suffered in the hands of the few wrongs that some few black people have done. Let's talk about the collectiveness of putting people in one class. We understand that in every society there is a problem. Even in the black community there is a problem. Even in the white community there is a problem. But most of the time you'll see the media only trying to show you the black community, leaving out the white community. Right, and this is how the white supremacy structures works, and it tries to show one part of the story and hide one part of the story. They are always trying to revise every part of history that they feel like, it's not well or doesn't go well with them when it goes out to the public, right? And so these are the things that we need to talk about and really have a clear discussion in regards to what's really happening at real time. There's something that somebody talked about. I remember when I was in a court for a probation hearing, minor marijuana charge. I paid all of my probation fees ahead of time, paid all of my court fees, all of my fines, and had 100% clean urine analysis record. I wanted to get off probation 6 months early so I could travel for work. I was denied by the judge. A white kid came before the judge. He had skipped his entire probation sentence, never reported, and it was like 2 years past the time that was supposed to be the end of his probation. The judge threw his entire case out. This is an example of how systemic racism and white privilege they deny, and also why so many black people are in prison. It's like playing a game on difficult versus easy mode. Yeah, I think by default, trying to understand the comment of this person is that we have two groups of people. Of course, they all made a problem. There's a person that has a 2 year, that they still need to wait for 2 years, but you really understand that his case was thrown away. But this guy has only 2 months. It was asking for a probation, but it wasn't given, right? And so you understand how these issues and how these all matters work. You need to see all these things in real time, because when you talk about white privilege and white supremacy, I think white supremacy, it's up there, and then we have subsections. We have the white privilege, white deflection, white doubt, right? All these things, all these concepts that we have seen different scholars try to come and talk about them. But what still stands out even at this moment is that we have white people that still won't agree with you that there is white privilege. Of course, it might not be in every sector, but it still exists in different places. For example, prisons, for example, hospitals. These are places that we have seen cases of race and racism happening. And so it has affected, it has really affected majority of these people. And so when we have a time, or when we have the right platform to talk about all these issues, I think it's imperative for people to note that these things are happening in real time and they need to be, addressed. Somebody's also saying, wow, well, my son was hit by a car and the guy was white, a white firefighter, and was driving under the influence, and my son was hospitalized and died from his injuries 4 days later. And the firefighter wasn't charged or nothing. And I tried to pursue having charges filed against him, and everybody denied me, and they swept it under the rug. It still hurts. This is a black person trying to share how he really felt about all these issues. You understand that this was a white person who was driving under the influence of alcohol, right? So when he was driving under the influence of alcohol, he hit this person. This was a black kid who was later hospitalized. 4 days later, they died. Once the kid died, you know what happened? Everyone denied to help this person get justice. And that shows you how white privilege work. But trust me, if it was a black person who did this, you could see so many law pursuits. You could see a lot of things that could have happened. But this is just the 21st century, yet a person will come and tell you that still white privilege doesn't exist. They'll come and tell you that this doesn't exist. And I think it's imperative that you need to know that there are structures of white supremacy that still protect all these people, that still protect white folks, right? You need to understand that. Somebody said that I've sat in court like my law professor told us to do. That day, every white male for same crime was told, "Oh, buddy, you just want to get back to work." Oh, gotcha. Every black male was given a 5-year sentence. Please go in and sit in court on your day off. Judges are reincarnated slave masters, white supremacy junkies. Somebody just say that. You understand all these things happen in prisons, in courts, in hospitals. It still exists. You need to understand this. All these concepts that we are talking about, they still exist in real time. But you know who is this so much affecting? It is affecting black people. Majority of it affects black people. And so I feel like it's imperative for us to have white people that come out and call all these craziness that comes and call all these things that are happening. It's really, really important that we have people that can come out and talk about all these issues. So brothers and sisters, please let me know what you feel about this. Let me know what you think about this. I'm your host and presenter, Jindak Stories. But until then, let me see you in my next video. Peace, love, and harmony. Salute.